Kemuri. Dave, let's hear about it.
Let's pull up the trailer. Are you excited about this game at all?
Yeah, I am. I'm super excited about this one.
Are you really?
Yeah, I promise you.
Oh,
And I'll tell
man.
you why as we watch the trailer.
Let's
Let's
go.
let you explain it.
Okay, so guys, if you guys are just listening on the Spotify, what we are looking at right now is just probably one of the coolest renditions of like an open world that I've seen in a really long time. It's so vibrant and so colorful, and we're seeing these traversal mechanics that remind me of like I don't even know how to describe it, like a parkour, and then like kind of mixed with like some Spider-Man-esque style stuff. And we're seeing the smoke, and they open up what is called the window, and you see this gigantic like mound of creatures and stuff like that. It's a very, very cool trailer, and I am definitely not doing it justice. So if you guys are just listening, I implore you, go over to YouTube and check out the trailer for Kemuri. It looks so cool, and I am super excited for this game. And the basic premise behind this game is that the developers are saying that it is like a blend of Japanese folklore with modern culture and an anime aesthetic. And I think that's really, really cool. And basically, what you're going to be doing is you are taking on the role of a yokai hunter, and you're going to be going throughout this vast kind of creative open world and looking for these yokai that are living in plain sight amongst the general population, and it is going to be your goal to find them and eliminate them in order to protect the society. And I think it's not really like a very mind-blowing kind of idea behind the game. I think that it's good enough and it works, and I think that the other aspects of the game are going to make it something much more unique than what the storyline is kind of representing.
I couldn't agree more with you. I think, like you said, the storyline may not be like, oh, it's the best, but just the way like, and it's made by, I'm gonna say her name wrong, but Nakaruma. Is that how you say it?
I believe you just nailed that. Yes.
Okay, so she has done other games, part of a different studio, and I didn't write that down, unfortunately. But she's like responsible for Tokyo Ghostwire, I believe, is a game that she did work on.
I believe so.
There's
Yes.
one other big one that I can't remember, but essentially, so she's the one putting this game together with a new developer called Unseen, and it's her studio, and so it's like this is like almost like her passion project. This is what she's putting her time into. There's not much on the game yet in terms of those mechanics and things like that, but just based off of this cinematic trailer, I hope to expect really good vertical, horizontal traversal. Like I feel like that's a must with this game, just based off what we're seeing, and I think it is going to be like that, which is really cool. It's going to be in that futuristic Japanese metropolis, which I think is really cool. Like you said, just overall the look of the game, it's hard to like do it justice by just talking about it, but it looks like it's going to be a very fun, fast-paced, like cool traversal, cool weapons and things like that. And the weapons are supposed to be a mix of futuristic gadgets and like guns and stuff like that, but also like traditional melee weapons like swords and stuff like that, according to like what we've read. Still very early on in development. There's no publisher yet, so I can't imagine this game's going to be out this year. Maybe not even next year. It's going to be a while, I think, or maybe late next year.
I do think it's going to be a little bit of a wait, but I do think, like you said, there's not a ton out on this game, and I really was just intrigued by this trailer, and I wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive and try to find as much information that we can find to kind of bring to the table because. Like you said, there's not a lot out there, and I mean, I was looking, like I was really looking, and to go even like and I hate doing this because we are content creators, and I don't want to just like kind of look at other people's videos and be like, oh, this is a great thing to bring up. But like, I even went so far as to like looking on YouTube to try to find videos, and there's nothing out there. So I did a little bit of a deep dive, and again, a little bit of this is going to be speculation and just kind of what I've seen from the trailer and things that I've found from the developer or from the creator who has this like they do have a site and they do have a little bit of a press kit and stuff like that. So I really dove in and tried to find some stuff. So the first thing that I kind of want to talk about is actually the name Kemuri. And I know I'm butchering that name, and I'm so sorry if I'm not saying it correctly. But basically, what that means in Japanese is that Kemuri is Japanese for smoke, and I think that you can see that in the trailer where they're using that smoke aesthetic a lot, and I think that's kind of a play on it's kind of a play on words, but it's also kind of a play on the mechanics of what you can expect. And I think that like this idea of smoke is going to kind of lead to the fluidity of the traversal, especially so much of what we've seen in the trailer is a lot of this parkour style of like sliding and jumping and like skimming down the side of the building and like weaning through tight corridors and stuff like that, like being as fluid as smoke in your traversal. So that's the first thing. I think, like you said, the traversal system is just going to be so cool in this game. And then kind of leading into what you're actually doing in this game, we talked about you are a yokai hunter. And basically, yokai in Japanese folklore is kind of an umbrella term that kind of groups together ghosts, demons, monsters, and supernatural beings all into like this one kind of umbrella group. And I think that that really leads to like a very distinct style of um bosses and like things that you're going to be able to encounter. And I think when it comes to a folklore standpoint and a character design standpoint, we're going to see some really, really, really cool like character models that are representations of Japanese folklore and turned into this very bright, like visual kind of stance. And like, I'm super excited for that. And you saw a little glimpse of that in the trailer where it was that group of, all of these different entities all kind of put together and they all looked very interesting. And I'm super excited for that. They do say that this is going to be a fast paced style combat. So whenever anybody says fast paced style combat, I automatically assume that it's going to be a hack and slash, which I'm a fan of the genre, and I think that a hack and slash style for this game is probably going to work really, really well. And one thing that they have confirmed is that when you're out in the world and you are being this yokai hunter, basically what's going to happen is you're going to defeat this yokai and then you are going to be able to absorb their powers. So when yeah, so once you like it's almost like a Mega Man style, right? I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, Mega Man style, if you would jump into Mega Man, you would go through a level, you would beat the boss, and then once you beat the boss, you gained their power, and you could figure out a way to like use their power to get you through the rest of the game. And I think this is kind of the same style of gameplay where you're going to run into these like quote unquote bosses. You're going to be able to take them down, absorb their powers, and then figure out how to use their powers to get you through the rest of the game. So I think there's a little bit more to this game than kind of meets the eye.
I think that's awesome. So you bring up like the absorption. It's kind of. Do you ever play Prototype?
Yes, exactly like Prototype. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, Prototype. So maybe it's got like a feel of Prototype where it's like that's how you can get around, like things like that. But like just a different style with the traversal wise and the weapons that you'll use. Um, and then even like Prince of Persia Lost Crown had that kind of element where you killed the main boss or you killed like your clone, you got their powers. So that's so cool. I like when games do that. Um, but and I think it's gonna be both. Like it's gonna be kind of a single player and multiplayer game where you'll be able to play with other people, which I think is really cool.
It feels like there needs to be a co-op level to this, especially because you're seeing in the trailer that there's multiple. It doesn't look like a single player experience. You see that there's multiple hunters kind of running around together and traversing this environment together. So I mean, I'm gonna say that this is probably a single player experience, but a co-op is probably pretty safe to say it's gonna be included.
Right, and that's super cool. I think this game will be really cool to tackle with friends. I like you are super excited about it. I can't wait for more things to see about this game, more to talk about. I hope it's soon, but like I said, it seems like it's very early on in development. But it's one that we'll definitely keep up on, and we'll definitely probably bring up more and more as the time goes on and on this podcast.
We'll keep you guys updated, but for right now, it's definitely a game. If you guys have not checked out the trailer, I implore you to go check out that trailer because it is something very, very cool. The art style behind it is insane. Just the level of detail that we've seen in like their design of the world is really, really cool. It's bright, it's vibrant. The character design looks like it's going to be great. It's they touted it as a chaotic vertical city, so there's going to be so many different layers to this environment that they built, and it just looks really, really cool. I think I'm probably holding out on giving it like a final thumbs up, thumbs down until I see some gameplay because I think that's really going to determine what this game is. But just first looks, it looks pretty incredible. I'm super excited for it, and definitely something that you guys might want to check the trailer out for.